Hi guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being a music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest by Katy featuring Marley, and that's Chained to the Rhythm. So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. So Katy has just dropped this brand new track, and people everywhere seem to be losing their minds. Well, actually I thought they would be, but I don't really think they have been this time around. I don't know whether that's because not many people know that this track's been released yet, or whether people do or don't like the track, but here in the UK I haven't even seen or heard one person mention it online or in real life. So anyways, you're not here for any of that, you're here to see what I think of this brand new track, so shall we see what I thought of it? Well, I must admit I am a sucker for a great bass line, and this track sure does have that. It also has many other elements working well in its favour, but there are some safe moments in the track which did bring the track down just a little bit for me. These moments in question are very noticeable from a casual listener's standpoint, but before I go any further, I will say that this track is a good track. It's worth listening to, and I actually much prefer it to the music she's released over the past year or two, so I guess that's a good thing as well. Production-wise, the track is damn near spot on. The bass is thick and funky with a real disco twang to its tone, filling the low end of the stereo field up with this quirkiness and catchiness, which I really enjoyed. The vocals sound relatively untampered, and although I'm not the biggest fan of overlapping vocal takes, I must admit I kind of enjoyed it somewhat here. I did feel like the producer tried their hardest to make Marley sound like Sean Paul though on this track, and there's like a weird pitch correction or auto-tune put in his voice, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't know whether he uses this in his own tracks, as I've never really dived into his discography, but yeah, I just didn't really like it here. The rest of the instrumentation is fairly functional, filling the other areas in the mix pretty well actually, yet not completely swamping the vocals or anything like that for a moment. So all in all, a great production cycle for a pop track anyway. When it comes to the musicality on this track, sure, it's a little bit repetitive and there are better moments than others, but I must admit both the lyrical content and instrumental progressions were much more imaginative than I had expected when I first went into the first listening of this track. I think Katy put in a fairly decent vocal performance here, never overdoing things and dramatising each note fairly well. I thought the verse melodies were fairly good fun, even if they weren't particularly exploratory, and Katy in general had actually a fairly decent showing here. The bass line is definitely the highlight of the track though, and it did make me really want to crank my subwoofer up, and I did on like the third time around, as it threw me straight back into the 80s. That sort of vibe was basically what it ran with, and it worked well. I think that's really coming back at the moment, and I think she jumped on the gravy train and thought about it a bit more than other people have done in the past sort of fortnight or so. On the other hand, however, I will say that Skip's feature is completely pointless on this track. He makes the track seem that bit more cheesier, and he had nothing to really work with, so I sort of empathise with him there, because he seems like he's been tagged onto this track and he didn't really have any substance behind his, or any meaning behind him even being there. This track didn't really need a third verse. It really needed to vary things up, other than just like the gender of the singer being changed, since we had the same bass line and instrumental progression throughout every single section non-stop. I also didn't really like the second half of the chorus, as Katy took some weird lines out of like Sia's book and tried going all Caribbean with her vocal tone and syllabic behaviour. I've said countless times I do not like this lazy, repetitive form of melody writing, especially in the chorus, and vocalization on Sia's music in particular. I do not like that, that form in general, so it would just be unjust if I didn't mention it here as well, since I slate Sia on it so often. Lyrically, the track is actually really quite solid, and I love the themes of fandom and following being expressed so openly by such a colossal artist. It's a clear problem in the music industry today, and even just glimpsing at her comment section on this music video kind of proves that. So it's nice to hear someone with her popularity denounce the frenzy and support positive involvement. I know there are other themes in the track which I didn't quite pick up on, which are more to do with her personal life and her personal experiences, but because I've never really followed that, I obviously didn't connect with that as much. But if people did, then all to them. She's clearly had a good lyrical showing on this record, so all in all, a fairly strong return to form. That's what I was meant to say. There are plenty of things that can be improved in the future for sure, but for now I did feel that the track was definitely setting her back out in the right direction, which is a good thing. She's got a good voice, she's very talented, she's a good lyrical songwriter, and I'm just excited to see where she goes next off of this record. Even though it wasn't the best, I did enjoy it, so I gave it a G rating of 6 out of 10, which is above average. If you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye bye.